So I'm sure we are all looking forward to being men and women of leisure during our retirement days. But to live that kind of lifestyle, we've got to take some careful planning. And that's what we're talking about in today's episode of the Wealth Nation podcast.
Welcome to the Wealth Nation podcast, a podcast for every mother, daughter, grandmother, sister, and wife, and the men who are smart enough to tune in. The Wealth Nation podcast brings you all you need to know about investments, business, property investments, personal finance, and all-around financial wellness. Here is your host, Yolanda Rose.
Hello and welcome to the Wealth Nation podcast. I am Yolanda Harry Prasad, wealth advisor, and it is my goal on this platform and any other content that I put out is to give you easy, actionable tips, content, and strategies that you can use to manage your money well and to build generational wealth. And if you had joined us at Financial Success Summit 2021, what an event! What value that was brought by our speakers. I hope that you have learned as much as I did at this amazing event. And if you haven't attended Financial Success Summit 2021, and not to worry, we have tickets for you. Our tickets to our post-event videos, post-event training are all available online. To get your hands on lifetime access to all of the content of Financial Success Summit, go to www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com and to the shop where you can purchase your tickets, or you can visit the website for the event, financialsuccesssummit.net, and get your tickets there. And that will give you lifetime access to all of the content that we produced for Financial Success Summit 2021. The 2022 version is coming up. We have already begun planning. It's going to be an even more spectacular event. But listen out for that. We'll be sending you some details your way in the coming months. But today we are talking about retirement. In fact, for the next couple of weeks on all of the platforms, we're going to be talking retirement strategies at the various life stages, at the various age brackets, what you should be planning for, how you should be planning, and what tools are available at your disposal in order for you to retire well. The Wealth Nation podcast is sponsored by Audible. Audible is a seller and producer of spoken audio entertainment, information, and educational programming on the internet. Audible sells digital audiobooks, radio and TV programs, and audio versions of magazines and newspapers. For a 30-day free trial of Audible, go to www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com/audible. So today we're talking about retirement in your 20s. What should you be doing? How you should be doing it? And I'm going to be giving you all of the details in today's episode. So I remember when I was 20, and I have to confessions of a financial advisor right here, I did not have a single cent specifically saved towards retirement. I invested, I bought gold, I traveled, but I didn't have any retirement savings, mainly because I worked overseas, and in the Middle East, they don't really give us a pension or provident plan. And I wasn't in the country. Nobody told me about retirement annuities or anything like that. So I hadn't had anything for retirement, but I had invested a lot in gold, which, according to my calculations, have given me a better return rather than official retirement investments. But when you are in your 20s, retirement, it seems far off. And even when I thought, I'm not retiring now, I have time. But the reality is time flies when you are having fun in your 20s, your 30s, and in your 40s. And one of the most common excuses that, you know what, I have time. But anybody that's nearing retirement age will tell you the years just fly by, and building a sizable nest egg is becoming even more difficult if you do not start early. You'll also probably acquire other expenses along the way. I mean, in your 20s, if you're lucky enough to be living at home, you don't have kids and a family to take care of. Most likely you don't have a whole set of expenses as yet. So you have a little bit more to put away towards retirement. And I know you do not earn as much money in your earlier days and when you're just starting out in your career. But there's one thing that you have that makes you more richer than the older folks, and that's time. In fact, time is a greater currency than rands. And unfortunately, very few people realize that.
Raising financially savvy children involves teaching them a variety of skills, from budgeting to planning to earning and saving. Besides giving them an understanding of the value of a rand, it prepares them for real-world finances. Financial literacy is a vital skill, and it is never too early to teach your kids about money. Many parents wonder how they can teach their kids about money and where to find age-appropriate resources. You can now purchase the Financial Literacy for Kids workbook, which is aimed at primary school kids. It's now available at www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com. This workbook provides you with 12 lessons, activities, lesson plans, discussion points, and quizzes that you can use to test your kids' knowledge. Shop now at www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com.
Like what you hear so far? Make sure you never miss a show by subscribing on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Tuned In. Now back to the show.
That time is a far better currency than rands. Let that sink in. Time is a far better currency than rands. And younger people are richer in this. And unfortunately, they are not using it well. And in your 20s, most likely you're paying off student debt. Maybe you even have something tiny saved up for retirement, but it can make a huge difference in the future. And we're going to walk through why your 20s are the perfect time for you to start saving for retirement. And I posted one of my promos from my very first episode of the Wealth Nation podcast with Magda Verzhitska. And it was the clip where Magda says that save 20%, in her case, it was 2,000 Rand, towards retirement. And I played that clip. Well, I posted that clip on TikTok. And the young people went after me. I guess they just didn't get it. Oh, we don't earn enough. We got loans to pay. Half our money goes in transport. But you know what? The biggest consumers of alcohol, parties, and all of this is people in their 20s. So very few people in their 20s can actually say that they can't afford it. Because they're getting their hair done, they're getting their nails done. They're being all fancy, but they're not prioritizing retirement. So at this point, I don't really have any mercy for people in their 20s, especially when they know, since there is no excuse not to know, because there's so many different channels that information is coming to them at. And people in their 20s, unfortunately, have been very selective. So if you know people in your 20s, you have kids, brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, or if you yourself are in your 20s, please listen to this again. Go and check out our resources. I've got tons of resources available for retirement on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, our TikTok, our website as well. And I'm going to give you a download link. So if you go to my website, it's www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com/ultimate retirement strategy. I'm going to give you my free toolkit that you can download and you can start using ASAP. That's going to help you efficiently plan for your retirement, whether you've started or not, whatever your age is, whether you're male or female, this works for you as well. So go and download it. I'm going to put a link in the show notes as well, and that's going to help you start planning for retirement. It's an easy-to-use tool. There's a video for instruction as well, so go and get that calculator. But here's the reality. I know young people, you guys are always telling me you don't have enough, you're not earning enough. But the reality is that it's easy for you to save when you're young and you have fewer responsibilities. You have time, which is a greater currency than rands, and you can map up your retirement plan. But if you don't have the know-how, get a financial advisor to help you. If you do not have a financial advisor, reach out. I will consult with you and help you to prioritize your goals. I have clients all over the country. I travel all around the country to see my clients. Well, not all over. Let me just correct myself. I'm in Durban, of course. I'm based in Durban. I am frequently on the South Coast, KZN South Coast, because I have a holiday home there. So we're up and down in that area. I'm in Joburg at least once every 2 months. And maybe Cape Town twice a year. Now, it's all dependent on the weather. You know, it's the weather because winter time, no St. Durbanite leaves Durban because of the cold. So it's all dependent on the weather. And I will come out and see you. But majority of the time, we're consulting via Zoom. And I will help you to map up your retirement plan and show you the way, give you some advice on the product that's available and how you can use this to your advantage. So the first step in planning for your retirement in your 20s is to know your goals. Now, the sooner you start investing towards retirement, the better it will be for you down the road. But you might not be able to do it by yourself, so get somebody to help you, somebody you trust, especially if you don't have the know-how and how to navigate the process of retirement planning. And there's tons of content that I put out. Visit our YouTube channel. So make sure that you set realistic expectations and goals, and make sure that you have all the necessary information when you meet an advisor or start mapping out a plan on your own. A few things that you need to consider during your analysis is, and this is what we look at, well, what I look at when I'm sitting down with clients and planning specifically for retirement. We look at your age, what age you plan to retire. We look at all of the various sources of income, current income and projected income as well. Your current and projected expenses, how much you can afford to set aside for your retirement from your current income, where and how you plan to live after you retire. You're going to be living it up, or you're going to be nice and frugal. Do you have any other investments or savings available? And also we'll look at your health history as well, and we'll look at the family history to try and understand how we should be planning for medical expenses in your old age, because that's going to be one of your primary expenses. Another thing to consider when planning for your retirement in your 20s is the value of a compound return. And it's one of the best reasons why time is a better currency than money or rands. And if you're unfamiliar with this term, compound interest or compound return, it is the process in which the sum of money grows exponentially due to the interest or the return being more or less building upon itself over the time. So let's start with a simple example. Let's say you invest 1,000 Rand in a safe long-term investment that gives you a conservative number, let's say 3% a year. By the end of the first year, your investment will grow by 30 Rand. That's 3%. So now you have 1,030 Rand. However, the next year you will gain 3% of 1,030 Rand, meaning your investment will grow by 30 Rand and 90 cents. I know that's not much, and that's not the ideal situation. 1,000 should be the minimum that you look per month that we're investing in. But let's fast forward this example, right? We just want to see the numbers here. And one thing we always have to factor in is inflation. So if you're starting in your 20s, by year 39, when you're getting ready to retire, buy a lot from just 1,000 Rand a year. So you go ahead on the 40th year and your investment becomes around 3,260,000 some change. That's a lot of money from just 1,000 Rand a year. So you notice that your money is growing more than 3 times as quickly as it did in year 1. This is how the miracle of a compound return works. Compound return on your return from the very first Rand that you save to grow future Rands. So savings will be even more dramatic if you invest in a high return investment like this. We said it's a 3% a year. Now, if we factor in inflation at 3 to 3.5%, the example that I gave you, the money is moving sideways. You would still have the same buying power. But when we figure out a retirement strategy for you, we want to grow at a rate greater than inflation. So whatever is the estimated rate of return, we want to always subtract our inflationary numbers from there, so we can have a realistic gauge of the buying power of that money in the future. One of the best reasons to save in your 20s is because saving early is a lot better than saving more a lot later. Now, you may think you're waiting for your salary to improve and then you will start saving for retirement, but let's look at it, right? You're in your 20s, you have the whole life ahead of you. Why you need to rush? But what's the point of putting off saving for tomorrow when you can start today? If you have access to a pension or provident plan at work, you need to be taking advantage of it. But don't let this be the only thing that's part of your retirement strategy. Most employers will match some of your contribution, so you'll benefit from having that extra boost in your savings. Those are your pre-tax contributions. So that will basically reduce your taxable income Thereby, you pay less taxes, which is great. You can also put money aside outside of your employer. So I want you to check out this week's video on YouTube, 8 o'clock this Thursday. I'm going to be really breaking it down, giving you multiple strategies that you can use to start saving for money. And it's not just everything I'm speaking about here. So you can also use after-tax rands to save for retirement in the form of a retirement annuity as well. Also, major tax advantages to this. There are limitations like you can't invest greater than 27.5% towards retirement. Okay, you won't exactly get penalized. That amount just rolls over until it balances itself out. But it's just a rule given to us by SARS. So let's look at this scenario. Let's say you're investing in the market at 100 Rand a month with an average return of 1% a month or 12% a year. Compounded over 40 years. Compounded monthly over 40 years. So your friend who is the same age, he doesn't begin investing until 30 years later. And we see this a lot. People start work in their 20s, and by the time they're 45, that's when they want to start planning for retirement. So you have a friend who's the same age, and he only or she only starts investing 30 years later after working, investing 1,000 Rand a month for 10 years, also getting the same return of 1% a month or 12% a year, compounded monthly. So who will have more money in the end? Well, your friend would have saved up around 230,000 Rand. Your retirement account will be a little over 1.1 million Rand, contributing just 100 Rand a month, even though your friend was investing over 10 times as much as you towards the end of it. And that's the power of compound interest. And that is why I say that time is a greater currency than rands. Remember, the longer you wait to plan and save for retirement, the more you will need to invest each month. So while it may be easier to enjoy your 20s with your full income at your disposal, it will be harder for you to put money away each month as you get older. And if you wait too long, you may even need to postpone retirement. And we're seeing this so much these days. I have clients calling me all the time. We sit there maybe a year or two away from retirement. We do some planning, tell me how much they need every month, and we sit with their fund schedule, and they only banked on their pensions or their provident. It's not enough. People are working till 70, 72, leaving home early, coming home late, working like you're in your 20s or 30s when you're pushing 70 is a horrible feeling. And that happens when you don't adequately plan or think that your pension or your provident is going to be enough for you at retirement. So what you need to consider for investing, what kind of products? Well, that you're going to have to join me on Thursday night at 8 p.m. on our YouTube channel. We're going to go through the products. I'm going to show you the differences. I will show you the numbers and show you how it works and show you how it all pulls together into a retirement strategy. The bottom line here is the sooner you begin saving for retirement, the better. When you start early, you can afford to put away less money per month since compound return is on your side. Time is the best currency. Time is a better currency than rands. Compound returns benefit those who invest longer over those who invest more for shorter periods. So go and download my ultimate retirement strategy at www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com/ultimate retirement strategy. So that's it for me. I will chat to you next week. We're talking about retirement in your 30s. So if you're in your 30s, you don't want to miss this. Giving you some good advice, some good tips. And be sure to check us out on our YouTube channel on Thursday night because you don't want to miss that strategy that I'm dishing out. All right, so that's it for me on this episode of the Wealth Nation podcast. I will chat to you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to visit our website at www.financiallyfabulousfemales.com and sign up for our free investment masterclass.